almost forgot it's Valentine's Day. Okay, happy Valentine's. Now, this was my recent undergraduate research from last year. So recommendations on the policies and procedures in healthcare settings. So when I mean healthcare settings, we're going to be talking about hospitals, general practices, etc. Now, I'm currently studying project management in the University of Limerick, doing a master's, so I think my bio is there anyway, the brochure. So we'll get started. Now, hopefully within the 15-minute session, we're going to be able to go through all of this, but if I don't get a chance to cover all of this stuff, you're more than welcome to have a chat with me after the talk. So for introduction, we're just going to talk about what are mobile devices. And the current e-health strategy for Ireland that was outlined by eHealth Ireland. We're going to talk about what's there, what's not there. For issues and considerations regarding risk and benefits when using mobile devices in hospitals as well as general practices. Information governance, what is information governance and why is it important? Now, eHealth and health, we're going to talk about, is there really a big difference? Is there really a division between the two? Mobile eHealth, I think that will be the umbrella term for the two. And people in practice, we're going to be talking about 7 individuals working in both hospitals and general practices, so doctors, administration, technology experts, as well as patients. And global examples of eHealth strategy, so we'll be talking about 13 countries and reviewing their eHealth strategies and my findings during my research, as well as the 16 policies and procedures outlined by the healthcare executive, health service executive, as well as the ICGP and the GPIT. And lastly, my recommendations. Hopefully we'll be able to get through that as well. I hope everyone drank coffee. Now, mobile devices, what are they? Is it just mobile phones? Is it PDAs? Does it have to have a display? For me, it's mobile phones should be able to connect to the internet, have access to patients for a healthcare professional perspective, being able to access their information and college during healthcare delivery. So this could be remote monitoring, telemedicine, consultation via laptop to laptop. I think that would be a mobile device to me. It doesn't necessarily have to be a little device, and it could be anything. Now, there hasn't been any official definition of a mobile device because the current eHealth strategy for Ireland, I know it's a great thing. It was established a couple of years ago. I don't know if everyone has read the strategy for Ireland. There are only 2 mentions of mobile eHealth, or eHealth mobile devices, 2 mentions. It was talking about someone else's work, and it's going to be talking about pressures in another country, but it never talked about mobile devices being used for healthcare delivery in Ireland. That's a big issue. Imagine the amount of mobile devices being used by doctors and other healthcare professionals within the healthcare settings itself. Now, there are no regulations or plans set out in the eHealth strategy itself, even for mobile devices, which is a pity. And there was a lack of addressing of issues within the healthcare settings itself. Now, mobile devices being used within the healthcare settings, it brings a lot of benefits. It makes things a lot easier because everyone has a mobile phone these days, you know. However, the question is, are they being used for work purposes, personal purposes? But the issues are, as you can see there, what happens when a mobile phone gets lost? What are the regulations on remotely wiping it? Are there any? Are there any functions like that? Now, mobile phone there without any security, it leaves them vulnerable. Of course, there's no encryption, but that's happening in all healthcare settings in Ireland, especially the ones that I studied in the University Hospital of Limerick. They're all using it, but as you're going to see later on in policy procedures, no one is addressing the issue. Now, the lack of encryption for most devices would leave any of those vulnerable. We don't have a standard set in place for encryption. Now, information governance. Information governance is really when a doctor says, oh, I don't remember prescribing you that. So it's really more accountability, traceability. There's a lady over there, I did not give my consent. How dare you use my pictures? Did you take a picture of me? Anyone can say no, but there are no regulations set in place. There aren't any proper disposition of the pictures or retention of the pictures taken by those mobile devices. Now we're going to be talking about the principles. If you would like to have a chat with me later on, I tackle the components, elements, and guides of information governance. So that includes availability, accountability, retention, privacy, security, confidentiality, and the secondary use of information. So initially, it may say we're only using this photo for your consultation visit, but you never know, it might be used for further research, and you may not have read the fine print, or they may not have told you because it wasn't in the policies and procedures, so they were off the hook. Really. Now, this is what I was saying earlier. E-health, M-health. Is there really a division between the two? If you look at the definition outlined by World Health Organization, e-health is the delivery of health information for health professionals and health consumers through the internet and telecommunications. Telecommunication is that mobile devices. But sure, another researcher outlined M-health as using telemedicine, telehealth, as long as their application depends on mobile communication. But isn't that telecommunication as well? Is there really a difference between the two? Do they come under the same umbrella? I think so. It's called mobile e-health. There isn't really a fine difference between the two. M-health, mobile health, electronic health, but is it mobile electronic? But at the end of the day, I would say that based on my research, it would be mobile e-health. Regardless of not mobile or mobile, it will still be e-health. Now, upon reviewing the 11 to 13 countries around the world, both developing and really developed countries, I found that the countries in the African region really more focused on the use of mobile devices because those are the only resources that they have an abundance of access to. So they don't have access to a really nice iMac, perhaps, okay? But they would have really simple mobile devices that would be used for sending out results. They would be using it for tracking, scheduling, administration, really. And I believe that countries in the region also included the idea of M-health, the concept of M-health in their own strategy for their own country. Now, surprisingly, how come us, a more developed country, how come we didn't include that in our strategy? Now, part of my research, I interviewed one from administration, two hospital medicine trainees, two actual general practice trainees, a general practitioner and a patient. So I wanted to get an idea from all perspectives. Now, my findings really included, I asked them really, what's the extent of mobile devices being used for healthcare delivery? Maybe administration. Like, what are you using it for? Personal use? Do you know any breaches? Do you know any breaches that have happened so far in your working area? Have you been introduced to data protection training? Do you even know that there's data protection guidelines within the healthcare setting? Now, are you aware of the policies and procedures? Have you been told? Most of them, surprisingly, they didn't. Okay. The two hospital medicine trainees, mostly the trainees as well as the general practitioner, admitted to taking pictures without the patient's consent, just to show their friends. Now, that is dangerous. Even if it doesn't show their face, it still has that person's identity. But we don't have any policies and procedures outlined that, that's not allowed. It's maybe frowned upon, but it's not written in documentation, which is a big concern. Anyone can say, oh yeah, I'll delete it later. How do you know it's actually deleted? Text messaging services being used mobile phones. Now, that's definitely a big concern for us. These people are healthcare professionals. I expect them to be a lot more professional, but due to the lack of policies and procedures, they can do whatever they want, really. So these are the list of countries, if it comes through. There, that's the countries. Now, I color-coded them based on their regions. As you can see, Ghana, South Africa, Tanzania, those would be the African regions, okay? This would be more the developed countries than New Zealand, California. Now, I found that, like I said before, the most developed countries had no reference to mobile strategies and help. They took note that there is ML going on, but there wasn't enough focus. There wasn't a section on their strategy about that. But if you were to look at those three countries in the African region, it was all about mobile devices. Now, Qatar specifically, they have an ASK formulary, which is a policies and procedures. I think that was great. They outline the guideline for anyone developing any mobile applications. They have standards set in place to make sure that it's secure and available at all times. So there's standards set in place in Qatar. Now, if the clicker lets me go to the next slide. There. These are the policies and procedures I reviewed from my research. There should be about 16 of them. Most of them from the HSC, and a couple of these now would be from the GPIT. Now, with respect to the access control policy, you do need your request approved to gain access to any information, but it doesn't outline what kind of information it is. It doesn't outline whether it's for healthcare purposes. There's no definition for it. Now, what's really concerning is under the no warranty of the confidentiality agreement under the HSC, HSC has outlined we are not liable for any exposure of any information at all. So, who's liable for it if information did leak? Who do we go to if the HSC outlined we're not liable? They should be liable. There should be some policing of this. There should be adherence to this. Now, all of these had no relation to e-health. Even the mobile phone device policy had no relation to e-health. No healthcare delivery purposes, just pure administration stuff. There. Now, based on the review of the policy procedures, I'd say that one device that is not encrypted, secure, I think that's enough to have a major breach in the system. It should be regulated, each and every one of them. I don't care if you are a healthcare professional, patient, or just someone who came from the A&E. If your mobile phone comes into practice, that should be regulated somehow. I don't know. I wouldn't be a security specialist, but I think it should be. There was a patient admitted in A&E. He admitted to take a picture of a really cool, whatever happened to the other guy, and he just sent it out to his friends on WhatsApp, Facebook. No one knows. But he admitted on doing it. Now, the mobile phone device policy, that should have reference to e-health, because as you can see, like I said, healthcare professionals are using it for practice, consultation, prescribing, showing exercise videos. E-health delivery should be mentioned, especially mobile device policy. Now, like I said, very obvious, there is no strict policing of the adherence to policies and procedures. Anyone can do whatever they want, so if I were yourself, next time you go to the hospital, be careful. Someone might be taking a picture of you, especially if you're someone famous who just tripped on the floor and, no one knows where your picture's gonna go. Social media, perhaps. The agency should be liable, because they are outlining these policies and procedures. I don't see why they shouldn't be liable, unless it might be the administration, but who is liable? If something happens, you put on a legal action towards this. Who do you go to? No one. Now, there should be consequences for any healthcare professional that breached the policy. At the moment, due to the culture within the organization itself, it's all about, come on, let me off the hook here, no one knows. It shouldn't be like that. Now, it's a scary world out there, to be honest, in the healthcare context. Imagine having that healthcare information in your hands. What do? Anyone can sell that information. Information these days is gold. So, I think that someone should definitely look into the e-health strategy and revise it. That's it for today.